everyone, and welcome back to Mind Your Mission. My co-host Liz and I are super excited that you have joined us today, and we have been in anticipation of this episode for a long time because Liz and I are both pregnant. And we're almost through, both of us, the first trimester now. I'm about 14 weeks and Liz is about 2 weeks behind me, so she's almost out of the first trimester, but we have obviously known we've been pregnant for a while and been waiting to share and tell you about it and bring you along the journey with us. So, yeah, we're super excited.
Yeah, sorry if we've been a little MIA the past. Yeah, on Instagram, we haven't really posted anything. Podcasts have slowly been coming out. We've had like a few weeks that we missed. Thank you for your patience and your grace as we adjust to this new season of life.
Yeah, we are both. I mean, if you've been pregnant before, or even if you've just heard about pregnancy, you know the typical symptoms of the first trimester, if not longer, are exhaustion and nausea and mostly exhaustion and nausea. And it's just, it takes a toll, and you kind of have to uh, devote a lot of your energy towards just surviving each day, which sounds always very dramatic, but it's kind of how it is. And especially when you're trying to do a bunch of other things like work and raise a toddler in my case, like there's just a lot of other stuff going on. And so we love doing the podcast, and it's a hobby for us that we really enjoy. And so it's sad when we have to put it aside and focus on our other responsibilities, but we know that we have to be faithful there. But anyway, we are just super excited to share a bit about the not necessarily first trimester. We're going to do a whole episode on first trimester in the future, but today we're going to talk about how we decided that we were ready to try to get pregnant, what that journey looked like, how we found out, all those things. And I feel like one of the questions that we're going to get frequently is if we were purposely trying to get pregnant at the same time. Obviously, we do this podcast together, we're good friends. So I feel like that's a question that people might have, and it definitely seems that way. Like looking at our due dates, we're both due in November, so it's like as close as you can get with different cycles and everything. But I feel like it's funny that the answer is actually no. I don't, Liz, do you feel like it's funny? I don't know. I just feel like God worked out the timing in both of our lives individually, and then it was just a gift and like a wink from him that it happened to be at the same time.
Yeah, I knew we were both wanting to start a family around the same time, but we both had different circumstances as to why we were waiting. I feel like I was ready to start a family probably in the summer, but we moved here and then my husband was gone a lot for training, so it just wasn't like the right time. And then I found out I had to get hip surgery, so I had to go through all that and then recover from that. So it's been a process of getting to the point of, okay, I'm ready to try. So life kind of threw a bunch of circumstances in the way to where it probably wasn't the best timing. If it happened, it would have been fine, but we were trying to work around all of the other thing life throws at us. But it's been such a blessing at the same time because I have so many friends that are due within like 2 weeks of Erin and I. It's crazy. I'm like, are we going through a baby boom? So
Yeah.
many people are pregnant and do like, I'd say like September, November, December. So many people are having babies, which is so exciting to have so many other people to go through this with. And so that's been such a blessing. So I know God worked it out in his perfect timing. And I felt like I was getting like impatient in the wait. And then I was like nervous it'd take a while. But yeah, super blessed with the timing that God has blessed us with. And I know you had your own circumstances to where you had to wait a bit too, because I think you were planning to have it earlier as well.
Yeah, it's funny because I feel like you originally had told me when I asked you, like, sometime in the spring you'd start trying, and I think I originally told you that when Weston turned 1, and it ended up being a little bit later than that, uh, not because we weren't able to get pregnant, but just because I had found out about the Hashimoto's thyroid stuff in, I think, end of December, early January is when I started really diving into it and decided to start on the medication. And I wanted to get my numbers to a place that would support a healthy pregnancy before trying, which was a hard decision because we had already been set on when Weston turned 1, we'll just start trying. And so it was kind of weird to decide not to try right away, but also we could have, based on what the doctor said, honestly, she would have recommended waiting even later, but I felt very strongly that I wanted to just trust the Lord and kind of accept His timing and not try to force it. And if it was meant to be, then I would get pregnant. If not, you know. We wanted to talk about that a little bit because Liz and I both were very fortunate to get pregnant on the first try, which I mean is honestly I feel very blessed. I was talking to a friend about how many people in my life I have speaking wisdom into physical health and how since deciding like back in the day when me and Nolan were engaged and deciding what birth control to get on, I feel like I had a lot of women talking to me about fertility and the women's body way back then, and I'm just really thankful because I feel like that has made me so aware of my body to where I know what my cycle looks like. I know what to expect. I know what's abnormal. And so I'm not going to say, obviously, that it's all the physical health because me and Liz totally believe that God ordains life and that He decides our days and He knows the days that our life begins and the day that our life's going to end. Like He has those already written out in His book. But I do think I'm just thankful for the awareness I have of my body because even with the Hashimoto's, I was a little bit unsure of how that would affect things this time because in our first in my first pregnancy, it was a surprise, and so we never had to look at the calendar and like play the game like it happened by surprise, and so I was very thankful, but I didn't know what trying to conceive would look like, especially with the Hashimoto's because they say it's harder if your numbers aren't in the right spot and everything. So I was trying to hold it open-handed, but also very hopeful. And I feel like it's a combination. I feel like so many people don't get pregnant on the first try, and that's totally normal. But we also want to hope for that and have positive anticipation, but not hold anything with closed hands, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and if anyone here is struggling with infertility, I just wanted to say that I hope we don't seem like insensitive or anything in talking about this. We want to share how it happened and what happened in our life, but I'm so sorry if you are going through infertility, and I just pray that God would be with you and comfort you in that and give you the answers that you need, and we're here for you as well. But I just wanted to make that disclaimer because I don't want to make it seem like we're insensitive to that. But yeah, when you're talking about us trying later, we actually couldn't because my husband's deployment schedule, so we had a very short like window of time that we like could get pregnant so that we wouldn't have a baby when he was deployed. So I'm also thankful for the timing that God blessed us with because otherwise it would have been difficult to figure out if we were going to like stop trying and wait, I don't know. So I'm thankful for that as well because I mean you can't necessarily always plan pregnancies,
Mhm.
but because it gets too confusing, and that's part of why I had to just give it to God because I was like, this timing isn't perfect either because he's going to get deployed when the baby is pretty young, but there's no perfect timing. So we just decided to give it a shot
Yeah.
and hopefully it all works out.
I think I've talked about this before, but I feel like there's just no convenient time to have a baby. Like, children aren't the most convenient thing. They're a disruption of sorts in your normal life, and they're supposed to be, in my opinion. I feel like looking back at my first pregnancy versus this one has been so much easier physically, which I feel bad because Liz has like been going through the ringer, and I know what that's like. This one has just been a lot easier physically, which I'm thankful for. But I also think that it's it heavily has to do with how I am different from now versus 2.5 or however many years ago now from my first pregnancy, because I have changed so much, both physically. I feel like I was healthier before getting pregnant this time and was eating better and all that and moving more. But also having a toddler, people always say almost distracts you from first trimester in a second pregnancy. But more than that, I that's totally fair. Like I get that because you're forced to get up and move because your toddler wants to move and go outside and all these things. But also just the selflessness aspect of it. I feel like before I mean, just thinking about it, I watched so much Netflix. I had the luxury of just laying around and
Mhm.
eating whatever I wanted to And I feel like my discipline and selflessness have in tandem grown just through being a mom and that strength that comes from stepping into my design as a woman in motherhood has, I think, also in itself made this pregnancy easier. So it's very interesting looking back because there's a lot of physical variables that have made it easier, but also just God's design is really cool, I think, in that way.
No, I agree because I like wonder, I'm like, how are people doing this with another kid? Like, I can barely survive. I can barely go to work. I can barely do anything. I'm barely film this podcast. I'm like trying not to throw up as we speak right now. But I think it's really cool that God has given you something to like, oh, this is like what I'm looking forward to. Like you have that tangible thing. And also, whenever I'm out and about doing stuff, I do feel better. So sometimes it's easier just to like rip the band-aid off and go outside and do stuff. So it's good that your toddler keeps you busy because I've been laying around a lot.
But you also have a full-time job, and people look at you and wonder, "How are you even working?" Like, how have you gotten through work? How has it been?
It's been rough. It's It's been rough. A lot of my job, it's like going out on inspection, so I'm like constantly out of the office on like a boat, and I'm like, I haven't thrown up on a boat yet, thank goodness, but I'm like trying not to vomit on this boat. We're like getting underway. I'm like, well, maybe they'll just think I'm seasick. Like I'm trying to like, and I'm also trying to get qualified as well. I have a board next week, so I'm trying to like, I haven't studied because to be honest, I don't have the energy for it, so I'm just gonna wing it. But trying to like do that and go on all these inspections. I've thrown up at work a few times. It's just been rough. And as even if you're pregnant, there's still the same expectations for you at work.
Mhm.
Like the world doesn't stop because you're pregnant. And so it's been really hard just to have the motivation to show up to work. And I'm hoping it gets better. This week was a little bit better than the past weeks, but at least I know people that have done it, like Erin, she has done it and she's doing it again with the toddlers. I'm like, okay, I can do this. And there is a lot of women in my office too who have gone through pregnancy. And so they're like checking in on me, making sure that I am good. So I have people like looking out for me and stuff. And I think once I get through the first trimester and finish up this qualification, I'm hoping it'll get a bit better. Just really hard to stay motivated and to like be able to show up as my best self at work. I'm just trying to survive. How's it been for you?
Oh, I feel like what you said about how the world doesn't stop just because you're pregnant is definitely a relatable feeling, and the hard part is that when you get pregnant, your whole life changes, and even if you yeah, even already having a kid, my whole life has changed, and priorities shift. The priorities surrounding my health have shifted, and so, like, I prioritize rest over, working out for an hour a day. Like, I would prioritize, like, taking a 30-minute nap and maybe moving my body, like going for a walk. Like, things priorities just change, and it's really hard to communicate that, especially in a work setting when, like you said, expectations don't change, but physically your bandwidth is just limited. And I've talked about my work schedule on the podcast, but now pairing that, like now I can put it in context because basically my work schedule changed right as my husband and I started trying. And so like I knew in my head that we had like planned on trying, but I hadn't planned on the change in work schedule. So like you're talking about qualifications. I had just finished a qualification. I was like, okay, great timing. Like I'm settled in. I won't have to, be in that learning grind. Like my brain won't have to be super on it all the time, which I mean, obviously it still does in my job, but I thought I had like planned it out well, which goes again to say that there's no perfect timing. And then they switched it up on me, and I've been on this alternating work schedule and starting at 5 in the morning, and um, it has been tough, and just hard to communicate because I am capable and my brain is working. It's just not working to the level that I would like it to, and it's revealed a lot of pride I think that I have because I like to be good at what I'm doing, and I like to understand things quickly and not have to be explained something over and over and over, and I like to just look like I know what I'm doing, honestly. I don't like it's all a image thing, I've realized, but with pregnancy, like, my brain takes a few minutes to really understand something, and I have to slow the pace of my studying in order to actually comprehend what I'm reading, and things like that have definitely been harder, and I just don't want people to think that I'm stupid or weak or any of that, and so it's revealed a lot of pride and helped me just reflect and surrender work, which obviously we've both decided to get out and that work isn't the end all be all, but I still wanna do well while I'm there, and I think it's human nature to wanna excel in the things that we're doing, and I think it's God honoring to wanna excel in the things that we're doing, so it's been tough, humbling, all those things.
Mhm. And with the summer too, like, we're getting into the busy PCS season, like, we're getting more responsibilities, so it's just
There's
been
more
hard.
activities going on, like, outside of
Yes.
our daily job. Yeah, there's just it's a lot. It's a lot, which is and it's fun too because with the spring, there's lots of other things outside of work going on, like my brother-in-law is getting married this month, my sister's getting married next month, like, there's just so many fun things too, and I just wanna be fully energetic and prepared and excited for all of it, so I just have to pace myself, you know? And
Mhm,
I feel like I have to tell myself the same advice that I give to new moms, but I'm like, "Take it as it comes." That goes with pregnancy, newborn life, toddler life, all of it. Just take it literally one day at a time is how you gotta get through it sometimes, trusting in
mhm,
the Lord's strength.
mhm.
So, Liz, will you explain I know you talked about it a little bit, but, um, you mentioned Matt's gonna be deployed, you mentioned moving and settling into a new job, but can you explain a little bit more the decision on how you guys knew you were ready to start a family and just your thoughts surrounding that?
I feel like we weren't fully ready. I mean, people always say that, like, we were never completely ready, like, the circumstances, like, I was like, "How am I gonna be able to basically be a single mom for months, and work, and have a newborn?" Not a newborn, but, like, a few-month-old baby, and so that really worried me a little bit, but at the end of the day, I feel like I didn't know how long it was gonna take, partly, and I wanted to just put it in God's hands instead of controlling it more ourselves. We still controlled it to get pregnant, so because 'cause I'm crazy, which we can talk about later. But, um, I kind of wanted to stop living my life, like, completely for myself. I was kind of over it. We've been married for 2 years, and I feel like it was just us, and everything was just about me, like, the evenings, it's like, "What do I wanna do?" And I was just kinda getting tired of that life. I wanted something more, and I was really scared to be a mom before, but ever since moving to Virginia, I feel like I've warmed up to the idea. I have a lot of friends who have babies, so seeing, like, you do it and my other friends do it, I've been like, "Okay, this is something I can do," even if it'll be hard. I think that we have 1 year left when we go back after maternity leave, and I think that will be very hard, but I think I'll learn a lot. It'll be super challenging, and I'm just thankful that it happened, and I'm a little scared for the future, but I know with God, it'll be okay, and it's hard being in the military because you don't have family, like, around. I guess you have Nolan's family close to you, but we don't have any family over here, so I've been stressed thinking about, like, "Oh, what am I gonna do when Matt's gone? I'm working, get a duty call, I have to go out in the middle of the night, like, what am I supposed to do?" Like, I don't know, and so that stuff stresses me out, but ultimately, I know this is God's timing because it did happen, and I'm just ready to be a mom, I think, and just start taking care of something else and do something that's bigger than just myself, and, I think like, in marriage, we are called to, like, procreate and create a family, so it's something me and my husband knew we wanted to do. Yeah, I'm excited for the next stage of life. I think it'll be hard, but it'll be, a really good transition, and I think I'll learn a lot through it, and I have so many moms I can, like, ask questions to and lean on like you. So, I'm thankful for that, that I'm not the first one, because I think I'd be freaking out a little bit more.
This pregnancy has been more fun because, well, 1, I feel better, but also I last time I was pregnant, I was the first in my friend group. I felt very young, like I didn't know what I was doing. It was by surprise, like all these things, but this go around, it is legitimately so funny just how many people you, one of our other classmates, she's also having her second baby, and we had our first, like, close together too, and I have other friends in just our military mom community, and it's different this time because I'm not walking through it alone, not that I necessarily was before, it's just I didn't have as many close friends who both knew me and then knew what motherhood was like, and
Mhm.
so this time's different in that regard, and so it's been a lot of fun. Uh, will you tell us how you found out. Obviously, it was first time trying. We know our bodies well. We track our cycle. Like, talk a little bit about that. Like, what it's like. The 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 time frame. I feel like no one talks about this. The time frame between you know trying to get pregnant and then taking a test because I feel like a lot of people talk about their reaction of finding out, but they kind of don't talk about that in between anticipation, which I feel like to me is the hardest time, but also it's a very reflective time. Like it kind of shows you a lot about your mindset and where you're at.
No, I feel like I was crazy during that whole month because I was like, okay, I'm off all the medication from surgery. My doctor said I could get pregnant. Like, let's try. And I feel like I was crazy. And I wish could say like I was super chill about it and just like, oh yeah, whatever happens, it happens. But no, I was not like that. So we did all the things like tracking ovulation. I track it anyway with natural cycles, but we also did the strips, which I feel like if I was to do it again, I would just probably go off my normal ovulation because I think the strips were driving me crazy. Um, so we did that, and then it's like the waiting game. And during that time, like we were probably around when I was tracking my ovulation and everything, I had like 3 people tell me they were pregnant. So, which was super exciting. I didn't think it was going to happen first try for us, but once all my friends told me they were pregnant, I was like, oh, maybe like I'll be pregnant with them. But it also kind of put a little bit of pressure because I was like, all my friends like got pregnant first try. Like, what if that doesn't happen to me? And so I was kind of like stressed out during those 2 weeks. And it's a really hard wait of just like waiting on God. And I just had to, I wish I could have said, oh, just put it all in his hands. I didn't. But I feel like as I was going crazy, I kind of just had to put it in God's hands and be like, whatever you want, Lord. It's okay with me. If you want me to be pregnant, that's great. But if not, like, that's okay too. But I was definitely like testing. I probably started testing. I started feeling like I was off, like, maybe like 5 days after ovulation or something. I just started feeling really exhausted. I wasn't nauseous yet, but I was so tired and just like had weird symptoms. And so I was like, maybe I am pregnant. So I like took a test like day 4 or 5 post ovulation, which I knew was gonna be negative. I also had a bunch of tests that were expiring, like the little stick ones. So it's like, oh, I guess I'll just use these. But then from like probably day 5 on, I was like testing every day, like crazy. Like I was just crazy. It was kind of fun, but I don't recommend that. Number one, it's expensive. And number two is driving me crazy. My husband was like, you're crazy. Um, so yeah, don't take notes from me, guys. I wish I could have been more spiritual and chill about it. Please don't take notes from me. But then I think it was like day 7 or 8 is when I tested in the evening and I thought I saw something, but it was so faint and like I couldn't really see it unless I stuck a flashlight to the back of the test. It was like one of the stick tests. And if I did that, I didn't do that on any of my other tests, but I took some little ones and you couldn't see anything. But this I could see like a very faint line. But I didn't really know for sure. My husband thought I was crazy. He couldn't see anything. But I was like, okay, I'll just test in the morning because I had a doctor's appointment the next morning. So I wanted to know if I was pregnant so that I could like get the referrals going and all that stuff. So next morning, so I like thought I was pregnant at this point just because I felt so off.
Your period
Eh,
wasn't late yet, though.
no, this was like 5 days before I missed period because I'm crazy. Um,
But I feel like it's so relatable, and so I feel like
mhm.
just sharing the story, like, even though you're putting yourself out there and you wish you would've done it differently, I feel like so many people, that's how it is, and so I bet it's gonna be relatable.
Yeah, I hope so. But I also like if it didn't happen this month, I something would have had to have changed because I couldn't like keep living like that. And if you are struggling with fertility, like I'm so sorry because that's just got to be so hard every month, like tracking everything and hoping it happens. But so my heart goes out to you. But yeah, around the next morning I tested and I got a faint line. I took like two. I took like the clear blue early response and the clear blue digital. I did the early response like one, and there was a really, really faint line. But I was like, okay, my husband's not gonna believe this. Like, if it's not a strong line, he doesn't think it's pregnant. So I took like the clear blue digital test, and it said pregnant because it was like the early response one too. So yeah, so I was like, oh, I am pregnant. And when I took the test, I think we'll probably post the reel on Instagram. Like, I kind of already knew I was pregnant because I had done the faint one with the clear blue, and then the night before I like thought maybe I was pregnant. And I think I started feeling a little nauseous then, but my nausea didn't kick in until like week 7, to be honest. But they kicked in hard. So I well, it was 4:30 when I took this test because I couldn't sleep because I wanted to take the test the next morning. And we had small group the night before, so we probably went to bed at like 11. So did not sleep that night. And then I showed my husband like the FAIN test, like woke him up at like 5:30 because I couldn't wait any longer. And I was like, "Do you see it?" And he was like, "No, there's not a line
You
there."
sure?
I know. So then I showed him the digital and I was like, "Are you sure?" And then that's how I told him. But I mean, he was half asleep, so there really wasn't much of a reaction. And he kind of thought I was pregnant because I was having all these like weird symptoms. I just felt really, I just like was pretty sure I was pregnant. I didn't know if I was making up these symptoms in my head, but then I found out I was pregnant, which was super exciting. So then I could tell my friends who told me, and we've gotten to be pregnant together. And I feel like since that moment, the Lord has given me so much peace. Like, I feel like I was super anxious leading up to getting pregnant, but as soon as I was pregnant, I feel like I thought I was going to be super anxious after that, like waiting for the ultrasound and for the appointment. But I just felt like an overwhelming sense of peace from God. And I feel like I got really sick, which also gave me peace because I feel like I couldn't think about anything else. So maybe that's like a blessing in disguise
I
from
was
God.
literally thinking about that on the road. I was thinking about this episode, and I was like, "Huh, I wonder if God just, like, makes it so we don't think about anything else but how sick we are."
That's exactly how it was. Week 7 on, I wasn't worried. And I'm a worrier. Like, I would generally worry throughout I would worry throughout the whole pregnancy, to be honest. Like, even when the baby's here, I'd be worried. So I am thankful. I feel like the Lord has blessed me with so much peace. And I almost feel like a little guilty because I'm like, I feel like I've not given much time to the Lord in this first trimester season. In the mornings have been super hard and I just haven't been spending time with him. And I'm feeling bad about it. But I am thankful that even if I have not been the best daughter, he is still the best father and has taken care of me. And just, I know this overwhelming sense of peace is totally from him because I don't normally have this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting this time around because I haven't been as sick, but I have been more worried, which I think it's twofold. I think that having our first like I mentioned, was one of the first moms in my friend group, and so I hadn't necessarily heard as many stories about miscarriage and just things like that happening as as much as I have now. So that's one aspect. Another aspect is that after walking through one pregnancy and now having a toddler to look at physically, I realized that this tiny little mustard seed that starts out in your womb literally turns into a living, breathing, talking human. And I knew that before. Like I knew the value of life. I wanted to protect life, but it until it happens like inside you and I don't know, it's just a different feeling. And so I like treasured it more, I guess, and which made me more nervous because I'm like, this is a precious gift and I never want to lose this. Um, so plus I didn't feel sick. And so, well, I did feel sick. It just wasn't nearly as bad. And so there were some mornings where I was like, it doesn't feel as bad as last pregnancy. Does that mean everything's okay? Like a crazy person. Like you're talking about like just because I don't feel sick doesn't mean that there's something wrong. But in my head I was like, well, I'm not throwing up 8 times a day. Like, are you sure? Am I sure everything's okay? Okay. Like, it's just interesting how our brains just do that. But this today I was listening to a YouTube video, which it's really sad that this verse that I am quoting was prompted in a YouTube video, not my own reading, because same as you, I feel guilty because in this first trimester, I just haven't been as good of a daughter. Um, but this psalm in 112, verse 7, it says, he is not afraid of bad news. His heart is firm, trusting in the Lord. His heart is steady. He will not be afraid until he looks in triumph on his adversaries. And so I just love 7, where it says, he is not afraid of bad news. His heart is firm, trusting in the Lord. Like, that's what I want. I want my heart to be firm. I want to trust in the Lord. I want to be consistent. I feel like when I am walking with the Lord and in his word like frequently my heart is consistent and I'm not like jumping around with emotions and all over the place. And so that's what I want to be. I feel like I have been like that, but only thanks to the Lord's goodness. And even though I have been more nervous and know more of the reality of miscarriage and things like that, I feel like, and I talked about this in my birth story a while back, just that feeling of I know everything's gonna be okay, even if it's not okay, which is so hard to explain if you don't know Jesus, but it's kind of been the same the first trimester. Like, even though I'm nervous about this and want to protect this life with everything I can, even if something were not to be okay, I know it's gonna be okay. And it's hard to put into words, but that's what happens when you walk with the Lord.
It's your turn now, and I'll put you in the hot seat. If you could tell us how you knew you and Nolan were ready to start trying for a baby and how you found out and all that.
Yeah, it's interesting because my sister and I, we are 4 years apart, 3 years and 9 months or something like that, and so I, growing up, never thought I'd have kids, like, super close in age. I don't know, I had never really given it much thought and was like, "Well, it makes sense to space them out," all that. After having our first, though, I almost felt like this prompting from the Lord, like, "Okay, game on," which is just that's, like, such a silly thing to say is coming from the Lord, but I don't know, I just feel like it is. Like, it was like, "Okay, like, this is your childbearing season. This is what this time is for," and my husband's family, the first 3 kids, he's the second oldest, and so him, his older sister, and then his first younger brother, they are I think him and his sister are 16 months apart, and then him and his brother are 22 months apart. And so he grew up having siblings really close in age and loved it. And I don't know, I'm kind of right now in the posture of like, well, whatever the Lord wants to do. And I know I wanted to breastfeed for a year. And so I wanted to wait until Weston was 1 'cause I know you can breastfeed while being pregnant, and I did for a little bit, but my body was naturally, like, ready to shift focus from breastfeeding to growing a baby, and so I wanted to make sure that I got to a year, so that's kinda why we waited until then, and then also, I just feel like we had been settled in our house for, I don't know, 8 months at that point, and we were what I thought consistent in our jobs, and everything like that. I think about Weston and I I don't know, my sister is my best friend, and I feel like the best gift that I could give Weston is another sibling, even though I know it'll be a hard transition. I know there's gonna be things about it that are difficult because they're so young, like, he's only gonna be 22 months when the new baby's born, and I don't know, there's only so much he's gonna comprehend and understand, and he'll be in his toddler stage, everything, but I don't know, I think I felt the Lord prompting us um, to just go for it and to just see what happened, and I will say that I think I mentioned this, I was a little bit curious, I think is the right word, of how trying to conceive would go because of the Hashimoto's, and so I was like, "Well, we'll at least start not preventing it in January and then just kinda see what happens." And I was very thankful, it's kinda funny because we if you do the math, like, I don't know if people do this when they find out people are pregnant, but it was a Valentine's Day it was a Valentine's Day thing, which is kinda fun, so, we're just like, "Well, what a fun week to try," and I I will say being pregnant the second time, I knew what it felt like to get pregnant, and so I was fairly confident. I think the first thing that I felt last time and that I also felt this time, even though I was breastfeeding, was just some soreness in the upper region. So I felt that similar to last time. I think for me, like one of the strong indications is a car nap. Like if I
Mm,
fall asleep in the car, like usually I don't do that. And so if I'm like so tired that I want to take a nap in the car, then I'm like, interesting. The last weekend in February, we went on a retreat to White Sulphur Springs, and, um, that Friday, I think I was supposed to start my period, and I knew that I didn't wanna because I have heard stories, I knew that I didn't want to take a bunch of tests, I just wanted to wait until I missed a period because I knew that if I let myself go down that route, then it could get out of control and that I
mhm.
would stress about it, and so I was like, "Well, I'm just gonna give myself permission to just not even worry about taking a test until I miss my period." and then I feel like I just kept, like, wanting to know for sure, and so my period was supposed to start Friday. I don't think I or maybe Thursday. I don't think I ended up testing until 5 days later. Like, I was
I
5
wish
days
that was
late,
me. Yeah.
which part of it was because we were on a retreat, and I was like, "Well, like, do I bring the test? I'll just wait till I'm home." Like, I don't know, I was just convenient to wait. And so on that car ride, I took a nap, and I was like, "Okay, I'm late on my period. I feel pregnant." And so I was pretty confident, which is a gift. I feel like I don't know, I knew I was pretty confident going into taking a test that I was gonna be pregnant. But it's still so crazy how even though I was 90% sure, 1, I didn't want my to convince myself that I was pregnant because I don't know, I don't wanna see a negative test. But also it is crazy just the genuine reaction I had even though I thought I was gonna be pregnant this time. Like, last time, it was a very shock. I mean, my finding out video is, like, utter shock, like, totally surprised. This time it's not that way, but the feeling is still crazy. Like, you see that word, like, like,
Mhm.
you're pretty sure you're pregnant, but like, when you see that word, it just changes things. It's just like, wow, like, it's real. It just becomes
Mhm.
real, and, I actually didn't take a digital test, which is funny. I just took the one with the lines, um, but since I was 5 days late, the line was, like, very much
Mhm.
there. I also last time I found out I was pregnant, I took, like, 5 tests, I'm pretty sure, within the span of 2 days. This time I took 1 test, and that was it, and I was just like, I knew, and
Mhm.
it's really fun. I had Weston with me when I took a test. Nolan was at work, I think, and so I took a test with Weston, and it was just like, wow, like, the first thing I said, I think, was, "You're gonna be a big brother," and that just it's just I don't know, it's such a it's a different experience when you already have a kid, but nonetheless special. And then we went to the store and I bought him a Big Brother shirt. And then when Nolan came home from work, he was wearing his Big Brother shirt. And Nolan was also, I mean, we're very open. I'm very open with him about all my timing and stuff. And so he was pretty confident that I was pregnant too. And so his reaction was kind of lame, but in a good
Yeah.
way because he knew. And it's been interesting. Like, I feel like some days with a second pregnancy, it still changes your life and your priorities shift, like I mentioned, but there are some days when I've, like, forgotten, like, "Oh, like, I'm pregnant, like, we're gonna have another baby, because it's different. You don't like, we're already living in a pool of toys, and we're already living on a baby schedule, bedtime, and I don't know, we're already living the life, but so there's some days when I'm like, "Oh, I have to remind myself, like, newborn life, what's that like? Because even though it was only, like, a year and a half ago, I still forget, like, which is crazy. Like, I don't know how moms go 5, 6 years and then have another kid, like, I already forget how it was and forget everything, so I can't imagine how it is, like, waiting more time, but, um, overall, so far, the first trimester has been I think the word I keep using is humbling because also, if you listen to this podcast, you know Liz and I have been trying to eat healthy, and we've listened to so many resources about healthy living, and not only food, but exercise, and it's just I don't know. I was so prepared this time. I, like, prepped freezer meals that were healthy so that I didn't have to cook. I, like, knew what snacks I wanted to get, but still in the first couple weeks, like you're saying, week 7 is when it hit for me too. Weeks probably 7 to 12, like, all I wanna eat is garbage, like, fast food.
Same. That's all I've
Like,
been eating.
all I wanna do is go out to eat. I want fried food. I want McDonald's ice cream.
Mhm.
Like, it's just and I know how bad that stuff is, but still, I was watching a reel the other day, and it was saying something about McDonald's specifically, that there might be a reason that so many women crave I think they were specifically talking about McDonald's cheeseburgers, and they were saying 2 things. 1, like, a cheeseburger makes sense because of, like, your body needs the iron and the protein and all that, but they were talking about McDonald's and just the idea that your mind and your body revert to what's comfortable.
Mhm.
And for so many of us, we not even if we grew up on fast food, like, we didn't I wouldn't say I grew up on
Yeah.
fast food. We definitely ate a lot of fast food, but I didn't grow up on it. Like, my mom still cooked a lot of healthy meals. Um, but my brain, when I think of McDonald's, is associated with happy memories, and I have childhood memories of playing in the play place and, like, getting McDonald's when we were on road trips and just things like that. So they're happy memories, and so my brain wants what's comfortable, which is so sad that it's, like, the junkiest food out there, but and when I was in Yorktown for 3 weeks, I wasn't cooking for myself, which was a gift, and I feel like, I don't know, I embraced it, but it was like going out to eat and didn't have to worry, and I think eating is better than not eating, at least that's what I had been telling myself. It's funny because I think when you were about 5 weeks, like, you had just found out, and then I was
Mhm.
hitting that 7-week point, you had sent me that book
Yeah, no way I could listen to that now.
about, like, healthy food when pregnant, and I'm like, "Liz, I'm like, this is great, like, I hope that you can do this, but I'm just not there, like, I'm not listening to this."
No, I would not listen. This is when I was still feeling okay. Little did I
Which is
know.
it feels so hypocritical because 'cause I'm like, I haven't listened to Culture Apothecary in weeks,
Mm-mm.
like, I which is but the thing is, I do feel like it doesn't invalidate anything that we were preaching before
Mm.
getting pregnant because the improvement and contrast between my first pregnancy and this one, like, even though I would say the longing for those foods has been similar to the first pregnancy, but my self-control and decisions have been different this pregnancy. Like, even though I have let myself eat what sounds good in order to eat, even though I've done that, I have made so many better decisions than I did my first pregnancy. Like, first pregnancy, I was like, whatever goes, gonna eat it. This time, I took the things that I learned last time and just tried to implement them sooner. And so I know that if I eat every hour, 2 hours, and if I eat specifically protein, then I will feel better. Do I ever feel like eating those things? No, of course not. But they make me feel so much better. And so I'm gonna make a reel about like my go-to easy snacks like while pregnant.
Mhm.
Like beef sticks, I never feel like eating a beef stick, but just a little beef stick. If I can get that down, I'm gonna feel great. Cheese sticks, in the morning, I never feel like eating eggs. Like eggs just never
Oh,
sound
the
good.
smell will send me. I can't even cook them.
But I got egg bites from
Mm.
Costco, and I've been air frying them in the morning and starting my day with that versus, like, all I wanna eat is, like, cereal, but I never feel any better from cereal. So it's like, I don't know, things that I wasn't able to power through and
Mhm.
decide to do last time, I feel like I have the strength to decide to do this time, which is nice, and it's helped in the long run. So
Yeah, because I'm sure I would feel better eating that stuff, but I have aversions to it all. Like,
I
I
know.
will throw up if I eat it. Like, I've tried. So I'm like,
So this is
that's
just
probably why
us
I'm feeling bad.
letting y'all know that we're human and that, we're normal people, but that we're striving for better, and
Mhm.
that all we can do is I mean, the whole theme of this podcast to keep taking steps, even if they're baby steps, towards God's original intent for our lives, which is eating things that actually make our bodies feel good. So we'll get there. We'll slowly and surely
Yeah.
get there.
Mhm.
Huh. Anything else to add, Liz? I feel like we'll wrap up this episode, and then in the future we'll talk more specifically about first trimester and how it's been. I think Liz and I both are still reflecting on first trimester. Like Liz is still
In the
technically
thick of
wrapping
it.
up first trimester, but we'll reflect more on spiritual lessons. I feel like we dove into a little bit, but I definitely haven't been in the Word as much as I would like to, and so we'll share just a bit about that and I don't know, some more about the journey. But thank you all for listening. We're excited that we can finally share this news with you. It's like we've talked about, consumed our lives recently, and so
Mhm.
it's fun now that we can actually post about it online and um, just share about it openly. We are praying for you and excited that you listen to this podcast, and still, as always, would love to know that you're listening by hearing from you in the comments or uh, on Instagram if you want to DM us there. We want this to be a two-way communication. And like I said, this is a hobby for Liz and I and something that we get joy from and is something that fills our cups. So thank you all for listening. We are excited to talk more. And with that, this has been Erin and Liz helping you mind your mission.